All right, welcome everyone to the Mike Sports Podcast Show. Here today with my guest, no stranger to the podcast, Mike Reginald or Reggie. How you doing, Reg?
Yeah, I'm well. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Reg, man, had a great Thanksgiving, and I know we spoke earlier, and you mentioned that you had a great Thanksgiving and so much excitement around the season, families getting together, high school recruits with their families getting together. And um, before we get started talking about um, the coaching carousel that is of college football, I have an announcement to make that I failed to mention before. First and foremost, um, you know, I have to make my college decision today. Today I'm making my college decision, and um, it wasn't a difficult decision, but uh, with a lot of prayer and a lot of family thought and consideration, I like to make my recommitment to the university. Hold on, gotta get my hats to uh, Virginia Tech. Yes.
Staying true.
Oh man. So I would like to thank my neighbors for not poaching my package there. As we were out eating on turkey and allowing my headgear to come in and be untouched when I got back home. But Virginia Tech, and we'll talk about Virginia Tech in this podcast. But here today, man, again, guys, subscribers, fans, those who support my podcast. Reggie and I were going to talk about the coaching carousel and specifically the SEC. Um, but it's been exciting. Wouldn't you say?
It's been very exciting. A lot going on. It's always fun when there's a lot going on.
Yep. A lot of moves that have been made. Most notably, of course, we're not going to avoid the elephant in the room, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. There's a lot of opinions to go around. With us being in Memphis, we hear it a lot. Even though we're in a completely different state, Ole Miss is literally right across the street from us.
Mhm.
So we know in Memphis there are a lot of Memphis. In Memphis, there are a lot of Ole Miss fans um, that live here and that commute and support the school in a tremendous way. So when it comes to Lane Kiffin, we know his history, but why do you think fans um, hate Lane Kiffin so much? Is it
I think,
warranted? Is it fair to criticize Lane Kiffin?
is it warranted? I think so. Is it fair? I don't know. Possibly. He has a reputation for a reason and keeps leaving schools or being dropped quickly by schools and finding the next bigger, better opportunity. But you can't really blame him for that, just for trying to succeed and build something up. And if you see a better opportunity, taking it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it's just this continuing cycle that he goes through where he'll say all the right things, do all the right things, and then the next second he's gone. Um, And fans just want the same kind of loyalty from their coach as they give. And he's not going to be that guy for you. He's going to always be trying to be the biggest and best. And if it's somewhere else, he's going to go there. So I get why fans get upset about him. Um, but I mean, that's kind of the nature of the game now is people moving around constantly. It's just reshuffling all over the place, players, coaches. Um, could be better timing for sure. That needs to be
Yeah,
addressed, but um, I don't know. It's fair game. If he's going to be moving around all the time, then people are going to have opinions on him.
yeah. I kind of think it's unfair the way that they ridicule him. I agree because it's almost like growing up as a kid, your parents tell you to always shoot for the best, go for the best, and when opportunity presents itself, you work hard. Everyone has a goal. Everybody wants to achieve this something or be at the pinnacle of something and be successful at it. And um, I think just love him or hate him. He went to Tennessee. That 1 year stint was rough.
That
that
crushed a lot of spirits in
that
Knoxville.
that was rough. Even being in Memphis, during that time, it was rough.
Hmm.
Um, he rejuvenates himself. He goes to FAU. He goes to different places. He fails obviously in USC. Um, he fails in the NFL. With the Raiders and everything. He's had his ups and downs throughout his career, and I think everyone's allowed to fall down, but you got to give him a chance to get back up.
Hmm.
And I think Ole Miss, they gave him an opportunity, and FAU gave them an opportunity to get back up. And all I hear mostly from national guys is, oh, why would you send your kids over to LSU or to play for him? And he's led Ole Miss for 6 fairly successful seasons, and no one said, has no control over what LSU or Florida does,
Hmm.
as far as their opening goes. They made their decision as schools to fire their coaches.
Hmm.
Lane Kiffin is a coach out there that's, you know, fair, they went after him. They could have went after anybody else, but they wanted Lane Kiffin,
Yeah,
for the
and
most part.
those are attractive schools to go to. So
Yeah,
why not put your name in the hat for him to pick? Because he is an effective coach. He's done a wonderful job at Ole Miss. I feel for the Ole Miss fan base because they put a lot of faith in him, and he's done a great job.
yeah,
And he seemed to have kind of turned his life around and become who everyone wants him to be. And they see that as just him being fake again because he's going to LSU, which
yeah,
I get all the reasons he's leaving, and I just hate it for the fan base because they're in a tough spot now.
yeah. And we all go through that. We've gone through that in Memphis with Calipari.
Hmm.
He said he loved Memphis.
Yeah.
He said all the right things that a coach should say to their fan base, and ultimately decided to go to Kentucky
Mhm.
because that was his dream job or a very prestigious job. Do you believe that Kiffin had an ulterior motive and was using Ole Miss as a step stool, or you know, do you
I don't
think
believe
that
he did.
you don't believe it?
No, I don't. I don't
Okay,
think. I think he really was committed to the team,
yeah,
and he went there not just as a stepping stone, but he wanted to build it into a great program, and he did.
yeah,
I don't think he has the resources he believes he needs to keep it consistent. I think he has to rely too much on the transfer portal, and that's not. sustainable long term. So I think his motive was going to a school that you can recruit
Hmm.
um, much more easily because they have a history of great recruiting classes.
Yeah,
Uh, and even Florida
and
did.
NFL. Yeah,
Yeah, and guys going to the NFL and playing really well. So I think that consistency of getting on the front end the players to come in instead of constantly having to bring in new pieces every year through the portal is pretty attractive to him, and they've had recent success as far as national titles. And that's what he wants.
yeah, and I mean that's the ultimate goal, and that's why I have zero um, fault with what he did, even though the timing is bad. Like we stated earlier, I don't think the criticism of him is all the way fair, but I get it. We get it, and I don't think it was ultimatum alternative alternative motive. Behind it because a lot of people are saying that he was just using Ole Miss as a step stool to get to the Alabama job,
Yeah.
or that he really really wanted that job. Um,
No, I think he put everything into
LSU
Ole
and Florida
Miss.
are great jobs.
Hmm.
And, Alabama made their decision based on their decision. They decided to go a different route, whether he was a candidate or not. Lane could have went to Auburn if he wanted to. Didn't want to
Yeah.
go there, and that's his decision. And, I think the point is, we all make decisions and Lane made his.
Hmm.
So yeah, do you agree with the ultimatum that Ole Miss put in front of them now? It was either stay here, coach LSU, decide or decide on LSU or Florida, um, but you can't coach in the playoffs.
I don't like it. I guess I kind of understand it when it's explained. Um, you don't want him getting an advantage um, by continuing to be the head of your program while also working for another school. You're going to have kind of a conflict of interest there, especially when you're going to be recruiting players. Um, but it's really tough for the fans and the players that wanted him to coach all the way through the playoffs because this doesn't happen all the time. It's very rare in the, I guess, recent past for them to be this high up. Um,
Yeah,
and he's the one that brought him there. And I don't like hate it that this scenario can even come up because it just doesn't make sense that you coach a team for 6 seasons and then you make a playoff and you don't even get to coach them.
yeah,
But I get the reason. I just don't like it.
yeah. I agree with you. Um, I didn't really didn't like the ultimatum, or they were kind of creating this lanes in for himself type, and he's taking the whole offensive coordinators with him, or gave them the ultimatum of if you're not on the plane, with me to LSU, then there's no room left when I get there. Kind of just it was just the defense, and that was it. That's what it made it sound like, at least. Um, yeah, I think the communication was just a matter of two groups of people kind of being petty, not compromising, hearts broken. Everyone's in their emotions at that point in time. And we know now that Weiss, his offensive coordinator, is going to be coaching the team or coaching the offense. Um, and Lane Kiffin is just not coaching that during the playoffs at all. So everything seems back to normal, especially with the college playoff selection show. They moved up a slot. And
Mhm.
the fact that um, That he is now LSU's coach is not affecting their playoff seating at all.
And it shouldn't.
And mhm, yeah, and it shouldn't. That would be so wrong. If they were not allowed to play in the playoffs just because Lane Kiffin decided to leave,
Right.
that would be
I
awful.
mean, you could lose a coach for any number of reasons, and
Yeah,
penalize a team for that just doesn't seem right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't think it was right when they left Florida State out, but
No,
that was just ridiculous. But
that that was rough.
yeah, rough. It was rough to see Norvell in that situation.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and I do wish they compromised because I mean Summerall, who is now the Florida coach, um, is allowed to coach his team in Tulane. You know, during for the championship game, and if they make it in the playoffs, he'll most likely coach the team in the college football playoff as well. So I think that's a good story, a fun story that there isn't a whole lot to talk about. Is that Summerall is able to do that, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's Tulane, Florida, or yeah, Tulane and Florida, two different ballparks, two different.
yeah.
You know, I
It's a
didn't
pretty
realize how heated uh, Ole Miss and LSU rivalry wise was. Um,
Yeah, I think pretty much anyone that plays against LSU on a regular basis, they become their rival pretty quickly just because of how
yeah,
intense and passionate the LSU fan base is. Probably the um, rowdiest that I've ever been around in the SEC or any
yeah,
other conference for that matter.
it's gonna
Uh,
be intense next year.
oh, it's going to be brutal.
It's gonna be intense. I don't know if it's. I think it's they're playing at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
think it's going
next
to be
year.
family friendly.
They're not allowing bottles at all. It's gonna
Nothing.
be. They might not even let. They might even allow plastic bottles or any type of beverage.
Yeah, yes, no
you know,
beverages
you
whatsoever.
can put stuff in plastic, man, and still hurt somebody.
Oh yeah.
Except it don't matter.
Security's going to be tight on that one.
It's gonna be rough playing that game. They may have to change that to a neutral site.
Yeah.
um, man, still be an exciting game though.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, wish that um, Lane Kiffin were able to coach that game. But let's see. What do you think when we talk about the future of Ole Miss? Do you think what do you think the ceiling is? Did they Ole Miss? Do you think they reached their ceiling as far as Do you think that after this year that Ole Miss can make it back to
I don't
the
see
college football playoff conversation?
it in the short term, I don't see it. Um, I mean, I don't know enough about Pete Golding to even be able to form an opinion. Um, I get why they made the move. I don't know if it's going to be their solution long term. But who knows? Maybe he is. Maybe he can sustain it.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't see them maintaining this high level of play for the short term right now. It could happen again at some point. I don't see it happening um, for another 5 years at least.
yeah. I mean that's one of the reasons why probably why he's leaving in the first place is that
Yeah.
even with Lane Kiffin, there's no guarantee that Ole Miss is going to come back to this level
Hmm.
again, you know, and it kind of makes me wonder and question if um, installing or the interim um, Golden Golding is the right move? Do you think that's the right hire? Of course, short term,
Hey,
but
I mean, it's good because you keep the continuity of the program going into the playoffs. Um,
yeah,
so you can at least have some kind of continuity or familiarity going into the playoffs that you've had all year. Um, so I think it's the right move for short term, one game. Um, Going forward, who knows? It's just somebody who's 0-0 as a head coach. He's a blank slate. Could be great, could be a bust. Who knows? But I think for this game, I think it was the right move. Um,
yeah,
just so it's somebody that players know. He's familiar with the schemes and he's been there. So just keep it as close to the way it's been all season as you can.
yeah, yeah. I just wonder if hiring the interim, just thinking long term, is the right move. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um,
Hmm.
of course, it all depends on who he plans to hire on the offensive side of the football, and their ability to retain recruits and things like that. Do you foresee the NCAA doing something about this? With the timing of the transfer portal opening up, the signing period, all pretty much in the same week, right before a championship week. It's just a, it's just
Something has to
really
be done.
dumb. I find a lot of the things the NCAA does, football wise, from the scheduling point, really dumb.
Something's got to be done because like this timeline just does not work. You
Yeah,
can't have teams making the playoffs and not having coaches available. Um, I mean that's on Ole Miss or their athletic department, but still, you put them in that situation. Like, why are we moving coaches around right before conference championships?
yeah,
Because this was bound to happen at some point. Um, and if it happened once, it's going to happen again. So there's
yeah,
got to be something done as far as like timeline. Like this can't happen again. It's messy and it's going to happen again if it happened once.
yeah. It's very messy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer for it. I mean, Ole Miss right now is getting the brunt of it. Lane Kiffin is getting the brunt of it because of the magnitude of the college football playoff, and that they're ranked number 6. But Memphis is in the same category. We don't know what bowl game we're playing in, but players could transfer at any time. Decommitments. We don't have a coach right now, at least not yet.
Hmm.
So, you know, I think one, I think because of NIL and we have to adjust to the fact that they are not student athletes. Well, they are student athletes, but they're professionals.
Yeah,
And they're professionals. They're not. These aren't kids.
no, these
We
aren't
keep
the classic
referring.
amateur.
Yeah, we keep referring to them in national sports media as kids. Why would you do that to the kids? Why would you leave the program in the middle of the playoffs? Like, these are adults making,
Yeah.
and they make adult decisions all the time. There are players that leave in the middle of the season that don't get reported. There are players that leave after the season is over, don't play in bowl games, don't because they
Hmm.
pursuing NFL. These are professional players, professional people. You know, so yeah, I mean, kind of like to see some type of resolution, but people make decisions based off what they feel is best for them. And I don't think
Yeah.
we're, people or the media, it's fair to to criticize or bash that individual decision when they're just making the best decision for themselves.
Yeah, we're not out like
Yeah,
raging because there's an accountant that switched firms.
yeah,
Um, so we just think that their business is our business more than it actually is.
yeah,
We wouldn't get onto anyone for doing this in any other field,
yeah,
most likely.
yeah. But
Just how
let's talk
passionate
about
fans
the
are.
coach carousel right now. I find it funny. It kind of just ironic, kind of very comical that three American conference coaches got promoted to the
Mhm.
SEC, and these three coaches, outside, I haven't heard anything negative about John Summerall, but I know the fan base at USF didn't particularly weren't particularly satisfied with Alex Golish, who's now the coach at Auburn, and of course Memphis for years. For the last 6, 7 years, Mike Silverfield's come in, has been given, recently a boatload of NIL money and support, and we finished seventh in the AAC.
Mhm.
We've come up short pretty much every time, but still maintain a winning record, bowl games. Um, we put up impressive stats and impressive wins against rival opponents. Arkansas, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. I mean, we've had some great moments at
Yeah,
the
Florida
University of
State.
Memphis under Silverfield, and congratulations to him and his promotion to Arkansas. But out of those three, who do you think is going to be the most successful?
Good question. I, I hope um, Summerall is because he's
Yeah,
going to my school, Florida.
yeah,
Um, but I don't know. Like, I really think Silverfield could be really good with Arkansas, just because it looks like he knows how to run a program well. And having more resources, I think he'll be able to do more with it. He has, I mean, you could say had a disappointing season, but if you look back far enough, it's a pretty darn good season for Memphis. Um, as far as like historically.
yeah.
So yes, it was disappointing, but that's only because the potential is there, and it's only there because he was the head coach. So I think it's a big step for him, but I think he'll be able to handle it. Golish, who knows? I don't know what's going to happen there. It just seems a little odd, but I'm not the one behind the scenes making decisions. Also, like I'm sure they know a lot more about him than I do.
Mm.
So it's just one of those things we'll see. Rooting on Summerall to do well. I hope he does, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do. Uh, the When I think about the pros and cons, with Ryan Silverfield, well, let's put it like this: if categorize it, upgrade, mediocre, and not good enough, and talking about the pros and cons of, I think with Ryan Silverfield going to Arkansas, I would say that's a mediocre hire to me. To me, it's a mediocre hire from the standpoint of he's going to the SEC, which is a way tougher than American. He's going to be going up against stiffer competition. Arkansas went 2-7, and if I were to put my Arkansas hat on, I'm thinking Arkansas, they just want to be competitive again, and this is the reason why they made this hire. I don't know if they truly, truly believe that they can be in the conversation for SEC West championships, You know, I don't
Well,
know if what
I
you think.
mean, I know the fans don't like it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. They're
they're kind of
not
up and
they, anytime you have a few people protesting,
but I get it. They're like, why are we getting the coach from Memphis who anytime in the past, honest this year, um, if Arkansas comes in here, they know they're gonna win. They're gonna win. Um, but they don't, I guess, see. I mean, they were talking about Memphis maybe being in the playoffs early in the
yeah,
season.
yeah,
And that's what Arkansas fans don't hear. They're not paying attention to what's going on. And he's built it into something that we were at least mentioned for the playoffs, which is huge. That never in a million years would I've ever thought I'd hear that.
yeah,
Granted, it's 12 teams now, but still, um, that's something fun to hear at least. So
yeah.
I get why the Arkansas fans are upset. But I think he's going to do well. I like if he's in the conversation early in the year about playoffs at Memphis, then he can definitely do something with the resources he'll have at Arkansas. Um, so I get why they're upset, but I'm holding out to see how he does because I think he will do pretty well.
So you would consider this his hire an upgrade?
I would say it's an upgrade. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think he's a good recruiter. I think he's a really good promoter. I think, and he's a loyal guy. I
Hmm.
don't, he's going to be in Arkansas as long as they want him there,
Yeah.
and he's going to be all in. I think obviously he was disappointed with the way things turned out in Memphis as far as record wise, because we all like the idea of Memphis, being in the playoff or in that conversation. And really, if we're being honest about ourselves from a Memphis standpoint, with like 50 or 60 new players coming in, either from from the transfer portal or for just from high school, Silverfield had an uphill battle, uphill climb at the very beginning of this season anyway. And I think that he was really projected to be exactly where what our record is right now, which is 8-4. Um, I think was the actual projection. So I think he did what he was supposed to do record wise, or was projected to do uh, record wise in Memphis. But you know, we as fans, we always take it to that next level, expecting above and beyond. Um, so I think he'll do okay. I think he'll be 500 pretty much the majority of his career in Arkansas, with the potential of getting better. And, I think they'll be in bowl games, and we'll see against um, Lane Kiffin in Alabama in the future. Also, we'll see. Uh, what about Alex Golish?
I don't know much about him. He's kind of the wild card for me. I know kind of his background, but that's about it. I mean, he played he played where did he play college? He was like was he tight end?
He was well, I don't know what position he played. I know most of his offense is very up tempo. He's very offense. He's very offense.
Hmm.
I think he's already pretty much said that he was going to hire somebody different to than for his defense than South Florida. He might go a different route, not bring his South Florida defensive coordinator, and is going to hire some or look for someone else. But um, I mean, he pretty much resurrected South Florida uh, from a four. 29 record from under his predecessor to uh 23 and 15. Of course, they did pretty good this year. Has
Yeah,
some pretty good wins. Pretty much going through that gauntlet of Miami, Florida, and Florida State, and create a lot of a promise and upside. Of course, we came back and we beat them. The Tigers, beat them at home. Uh, but he's very offensive minded, very up tempo. Uh, but he kind of, I guess he and Silverfield are somewhat the same. In that they're just not able to win the big game, or their record against winning opponents isn't very great.
okay.
So I think I kind of put that as a mediocre hire for Auburn. I'm not sure. It's kind of it's almost like you're hiring Hugh Freeze all over again.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just didn't move the needle much
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I heard it. Like, it's just that, like, okay.
yeah.
It, for Auburn, it just seems like, I don't know, just an odd hire.
I'm not sure if they really needed to make a move. I think a lot of Auburn's games this year were kind of like, the refs kind of screwed them in a couple of games. Hugh Freeze, listening to him now, he seems very motivated, wants to get back into the coaching scene. And, I know Memphis, he hasn't been reported in those conversations as a potential candidate. But, I mean, I take a look at him. You
That'd be
know,
an
I don't
interesting hire.
I don't know how serious Memphis is about it, and I don't think Memphis fans are high on him. I don't know why they wouldn't be, but I mean, he obviously he has Memphis ties here.
Hmm.
He knows our community. He knows how serious we want to win, and I think if you get a find a coach that's motivated as much as he is, um, I think you give him a shot.
Yeah.
If especially if no one's going after him, he's basically a free agent. And I mean, we have the greatest agent on earth right here,
You sure do.
Jimmy
J-
Sexton. I mean, good grief. I mean, the amount of impact that he has in coaching carousels. I mean, it's
hmm.
flat out amazing
Yep.
how much influence he has. Excuse me.
And
How
that would
much
be,
influence he has, in the SEC as far as making moves. I believe James Franklin. He's the agent for James Franklin as well at Virginia Tech now. So the Penn State struggling to find a head coach. Where does that come from? Like that's wow. You know, Penn
that should be
State.
a top 10 coaching gig in the country.
I mean, Penn State is not just your ordinary school. I mean, the whiteout, the
That's
stadium.
college football legacy.
You know, 50 to 60,000 fans packed in that building or more. I mean,
Yeah. That they need to find someone that's a home run because college football is
yeah,
better when they're relevant. And they have been
yeah,
relevant. They've been good. They just the knock that I've always heard is he just can't win the big game.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what I hear from my Penn State fan friend, who loves him but hates that they never won the big game.
Yeah, which leads to
I'm a
I
fan. I'm
loved
a
it.
fan of him. I like him a lot.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It was just straight out of left field. Did not think that James Franklin was on the radar. He got more criticism for jumping on this job. Because his buyout was enormous. I think in the 40 to 50 million dollar range, somewhere in there. And he could have sat on that and collected a check, but they obviously settled, and he's the head coach of Virginia Tech. And I mean, Virginia Tech is a great place. With the focus 100% being on football.
Yeah,
The Sandman, the fans are going to embrace him. If he does just half of what he did at Penn State, Virginia Tech is going to love him. Virginia Tech, we weren't competing against. We're making Division 2 schools look like Division 1. And it's unfortunate that we allowed it to get that long. That far along.
yeah.
Uh, I thought we were going. I thought we hit a home run with Fuente.
I did
Um,
too. I thought he was going to be great, and
and
I
the, you
think
know,
that football's better when Virginia Tech's playing well too.
oh yeah,
Like I
yeah,
remember growing up and watching like over Thanksgiving weekend, Virginia Tech. Like it was
yeah,
always a fun game to watch, and
yeah,
um, like Virginia Tech was always competitive.
yeah,
So like I just think that's one of those schools that's just more fun when they're good.
yeah, yeah. So the future's bright for them. I think that's definitely an upgrade. John Summerall, what are your impressions of him so far?
Um, he seems like he's got a good mentality. We'll see how it translates into wins on the field, but like he says all the right things, and he got a good endorsement. So we'll see what happens.
He
I
got
don't
a
know.
Lane Kiffin endorsement.
He did. He got a Lane Kiffin endorsement. So I don't know if that, I mean, I guess that's good. Maybe it's not totally honest, but I'm sure it was.
I think it's an
I
upgrade.
well, it couldn't get much worse. So a 4-win season just doesn't quite cut it at Florida. Um, so we'll see. Like I'm hopefully optimistic, I guess.
I think it's an upgrade. He's reached conference titles uh, in every season as a head coach. Two in Troy in the Sun Belt, an appearance at Tulane. So he's a winner.
Mhm.
He definitely can get you there. Uh, let's see, what do he do? His teams feature elite defenses, consistently ranking first or second in scoring and total defense within the conference. Man, a Florida defense, that's enormous.
Mhm.
Uh, to say he delegates offensive play calling to coordinators, which is good. I like that. He doesn't take he trusts his staff.
Yeah, that's one thing that like if you have a coordinator, why don't you trust him? That's always been my thought. Like, yes, he's the head
Yeah,
coach, but if you hire somebody to do a specific job and you're not letting them do that job, it just seems a little counterintuitive.
yeah. And I mean it shows that defense wins championships.
Hmm.
But scoring wins games. And obviously, he's been to championships and he's won. And I think
Hmm.
that's great for Florida. You get a defensive minded coach. I kind of want Memphis to do the same. Um, just from what you've heard so far, who do you think uh, should be the next coach at Memphis?
I don't know. I really liked when you said Hugh Freeze because that would move the needle nationally. That would be
Yeah,
a story that would be more than just local. Um, so wouldn't mind seeing something like that happen, but I don't really have like my guy that I think is going to be the best fit here. But I thought they've done really well with the last three coaches we brought in.
yeah.
Um, it's
It'd
kind of
be Ed
sad to see.
Scott's first major, major addition, major
Hmm.
head coaches
Yeah,
search and hire. Really,
yeah. I don't like the last three have been great, so we'll see. I don't have a front runner, but it's
it's
it's one of
wide
those
open.
things that yeah, it is. It is kind of wide open. and I have not even heard of anyone saying of a definitive like standout.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I've heard of the candidates, some of the candidates. Tyson Helton from Western Kentucky. He has a pretty much extensive coaching record, um, and Memphis experience, Memphis staff experience, and then I'm hearing Charles Huff a lot and Jerry Mack a lot, and the coach though. So I don't know. It seemed like, and I hear that they've already interviewed Jerry Mack from Kennesaw. Pretty much resurrected that program to 93. Uh, I would love to see Shane Beamer as the coach from South Carolina.
Yeah, that would be
South
interesting to
Carolina
get
has been
him.
up and down since he's gotten there.
Yeah.
Since for the last 5 years, they've been up and down, winning, then 500, winning 500, winning 500. He can recruit his tail off. They had an NFL, I mean, this year, definitely underperformed with an NFL caliber quarterback, but they have one of the best defensive players, defensive air rushers in the country right now. And I think he will be a great coach for the Memphis Tigers. Even though I don't see Shane leaving, I think his buyout's like 5 million. I don't see that. I don't see 5 billion. To me, 5 billion is pocket change. If you
And
really want to make an upgrade,
this
and
day and
you
age, it
really,
is.
you know, if you come on, if you trying to get up there to a Power Five level, I think we need to hire a coach that has that that Power Five experience. That can manage that amount of money, has a structure. Not saying that Silverfield didn't have it, but as this NIL money is going to continue to grow, I believe over time, with Ed Scott being from the ACC, I think we need to go. I don't think we need to make a vertical move. I don't, even though these guys sound really nice and they're coming from lower mid-level conferences, I'm not sure. I don't really think that's the the perfect move to go that, to go vertical or go that low. I would love to see us go for, Dan Mullen's name's being thrown out there a lot from UNLV. He's done a great job in the first year.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know NFL ranks. I would love to see Flores. I don't see that happening, but he's a defensive minded coach. He's a defensive mastermind. That could come in and you hire a good offensive coordinator because our offense has not been a problem. Our running backs has not been a problem. It's been offensive line, defensive line, and just setting that foundation. But it's wide open, so we'll see, how that goes. But Hugh Freeze, I think will be a great thought. I was hoping they'd make a decision today, just because it's being signed today and because of the just the timing of it all from the NCAA calendar. Um, but some interesting developments as far as that goes. So the college football ranking, they've set that out, and I'm not sure. Maybe it's too early to kind of uh, predict who's going to be in the field, but who do you think? Well, let's talk about the championship matchups.
Yeah.
Um, we got most notably, uh, start with Ohio State and Indiana. Who do you think wins that one?
I don't see anyone beating Ohio State this year. They just look too good. Um, just all
Yeah,
aspects. They just look better than every other team out there. I just don't see anyone taking it from them. Not Indiana, not whoever they play in the playoffs. I just think they basically have it locked up, barring any kind of catastrophic event.
I think it's going to be a tight game. Um, it'll be interesting to see. Indeed, and it's a funny how their coach, Indiana's coach, is nowhere in the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
for Florida, for Virginia Tech, um, for LSU. I mean, with Cagnady, I think I'm saying his name right. What he's done for Indiana has been just flat out impressive and amazing. Because no one would have expected that to happen.
Still can't even get used to seeing them as number two. Every time I see it, just like,
Indiana,
yeah, I'm like, wait,
wow.
Bill.
Florida and not Florida, Georgia, Georgia and Alabama. Game day is getting a lot of flack. ESPN is getting a lot of flack for not having game day with the one versus two. They always stay in the SEC. They're getting a
That's,
lot of heat right now.
yeah, but I think that's going to be a better game. I
Yeah.
do think Georgia's going to win. Alabama just
Mm.
has not shown up every game. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. I have no idea how they are like 10-2. They feel like they're right around 500 just because
Who, Georgia?
no, Alabama.
Oh, okay, okay,
Um,
okay.
Alabama just like it feels like they have three more losses than they do. Um, but they somehow keep pulling it out.
Yeah.
They just haven't shown me consistency this year, but I do think Georgia's going to win, just based off of them showing up week after week and Alabama not knowing what they're going to get on game day.
Yeah, I kind of respect Georgia for their consistency and being able to pull out wins. If they're behind, they're still in the game.
Hmm.
And then uh, Alabama, they're kind of just hard to read sometimes. Um, there were reports of Ryan Williams, the wide receiver. He didn't get a single target, I think, during the Iron Bowl. Their biggest rivalry game, doesn't get a single target. And I think there was, of course, speculation, that he's going to be transferring to LSU. And, all that, I think that's made up, but who knows?
Who knows?
Um, it's crazy. But I think um I think Alabama wins this one. And I know that's kind of like the standard because Alabama just does it.
Hmm.
But I think Alabama wins that game. It would be a tight one, but I think Ryan Williams definitely touches the football, and I think Alabama avenges their loss versus Georgia. What do you think would What do you think of the Duke versus UVA game? That whole ACC is just wow to me as it relates to the college football playoff, which I'm just going to reserve my comments on the play when the final comes out because Miami is not in this game.
Hmm.
You know,
That's
um, but I mean, just a weird, odd matchup here. We have Duke versus UVA.
yeah, it's very odd. I just the
Doesn't even
ACC
sound
is
right.
no, the ACC is just kind of a little bit of a lull, kind of down times, where there's no clear cut dominant Clemson or Florida State. Miami could have been that. They just
Yeah.
had a couple hiccups.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just one of those times where the ACC is not where it should be and has
Yeah.
been traditionally.
It's
So,
wild,
but
man.
it
I
is. But
mean,
I'm actually, I mean, it'll be fun watching a championship game that we're not used to between two teams that you just not used to seeing in it.
tell me about it. I mean, no Florida State, no Clemson,
A lot of
no
times,
Miami,
no,
UVA, which we can't stand UVA, Virginia Tech. That is, I mean, that's just is why, and just the impact it has on the college football playoff.
hmm,
Because they get a spot, they're guaranteed a spot, and
yep,
that's always going to be the debate at the end of the day. You're never truly going to have the 12 best teams in the playoff.
right.
Uh,
I'm kind of interested to see what goes on with the BYU Texas Tech game because
yeah,
that has a lot of implications as well. And I'm not sure. I don't think BYU is going to win, but I mean anything could happen.
yeah, that matchup. I think I'm gonna roll with Texas Tech. I haven't watched too much of them, both of the teams. I know BYU is extremely tough, um, defensively, and and Texas Tech they have a really good offense, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, even Tulane in North Texas. I mean, North Texas has gone under the radar, but their offense is unbelievable. I mean, they score very up tempo. They it's going to be, it could be 40-40, beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It could come down to who has the ball last. But Summerall, he preaches defense. So it'll be interesting to see, a great offense versus great defense. And so I think that's going to be a entertaining game. And that game is on Friday. Uh, let's see. Those are pretty much the major games.
Hmm.
Uh, at the end of the day, the team that gets snubbed, uh, I think it's going to be tough. I think there are probably Notre Dame and Miami might be the two teams that get snubbed out of the college football playoff.
Yeah, I could see that. Um, Notre Dame started the year 0-2.
I don't
So there's
know.
something to be said for improving throughout the year. Um, but I mean, they are
Anything is
quality
possible.
losses.
Yeah, I mean they only lost they just lost the first 2 weeks of the year. One being
They're
to
good teams.
Miami,
Yeah.
and they play great football and purposely have blown teams out. All the way here. I think they could remove uh a lot of drama if both of them were just left out. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the final week, championship week, and we're talking about the playoffs, it's really more about viewership and who do you want to see, who's going to make the most money. So it can become extremely political and against what everyone thinks should be in there. And surprise, surprise, it could be Notre Dame in there still.
Yeah.
Or, who's to say, you know, I don't think this will happen, but what if Ole Miss doesn't get in there?
I
You
would be
know,
shocked if they didn't.
what if they dropped? I would be shocked if they didn't either. But at this point, I'm just like on edge, like anything is possible.
Yeah,
Like
it
anything
really
can
is.
happen,
Anything could happen.
you know, and they could drop maybe to I don't know, you just don't know 2 or 3 wins. That's why I always felt like the Power Five should have their own tournament, and then the non-Power Five should have their own little tournament, and just separate it that way. And
Yeah,
you may add more teams to the non-Power Five, maybe from 12 to 14 or 16, however, and just keep your 12 non-Power Five top two, non-Power Five teams in there, and you definitely could see Memphis in that one, um, competing in that one. Just do a WWE style. Maybe they need to talk to the WWE. They got the World Championship and you got the Raw Championship. I
yeah,
don't know. Maybe that's the purpose of that partnership. Um, but you never know. I mean, it can generate revenue.
yeah,
Maybe we could go viral with this suggestion. If they listen and just separate it. I mean, they do in the division too. They have their own little tournament. Why not
yeah,
with NCAA football? Just do
yeah.
the exact same thing. It's
Something might
always going to
happen. We
be a
could see.
debate. You
Yeah,
know, it's always going to be a year after year. It's going to be someone fighting, crying over. You know, our team is better than this team, and this is why we need to be in the playoff.
yeah. I mean, how many
Uh,
times did we hear it about Boise State? I mean, it was year after year for 5 years, 7 years, where they
yeah,
were dominating in their league or their conference, but um, never got the national attention that they could have gotten if they were in a Power Five conference.
yep, yep. So some exciting developments that have occurred and that have are yet to be determined. Uh, but Mike, man, I appreciate you coming on and talking about it. It's going to be fun to watch from the sidelines how everything shakes out this weekend, championship weekend, big weekend, college football, big, huge developments with the coaching carousel and Lane Kiffin. He's already doing work, getting the best defensive lineman in the country. Yeah, I think who else? South Florida. I think they have already made a big hire in Hartline from Ohio State to be their football coach in South Florida. So things are moving and grooving, and
Yes, they
we'll
are.
see what Memphis does in the future. But man, thanks for coming on to the Mike Sports Podcast Show and staying sharing your thoughts with us, man. Appreciate
Well,
you.
thanks for having me. I always enjoy it, and I can't wait to see how everything shakes out.
All right, go Florida, go Virginia Tech.
Go Tigers.
Yes, sir.